Welcome to Psychic Insights, where pop culture meets higher consciousness and the tea is always a little bit mystical. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and around here we don't just watch the drama unfold. We read the energy behind it, whether it's celebrity scandals, reality TV, chaos, or true crime with a twist. I'm tuning in to bring you the intuitive scoop the headlines miss. So buckle up, because your aura's about to get entertained. Welcome back to my channel. It's Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend. And if you're wondering why I have Natasha and Boris on my screen, it's because we're talking about the Owens family. And every time I go to do this reading, I kind of think about that image. Ron and Jan. Oh, God. Anyway, if you've been following along, it's been a little bit of time here. I've had a very busy July. So I've been watching and I've been listening. I've been reading. And first I want to thank, all the people that are covering this, because their coverage is outstanding and I really enjoy it. I learn a lot from Big Tiff Dog. Love her. Justice for Clayton, victims of Laura Owens, all the best research. Anybody that has, all of you, just Bacon Bear, all of you, fabulous coverage. I've enjoyed it. So if you're new here, welcome. This is about Laura Owens' case. I started this, I think, about a week ago. These cards have been sitting on my table here, and I've just I started out doing the energy of Laura Owens for August. Those things shifted this week, man. And I kind of thought to myself, this is interesting what the cards have to say. So it's not just about Laura Owens, it's about her family. I've been reading several articles from the New York Post, Fist, the Daily Mail, among others. And, it's clear the spotlight has shifted to the whole Owens family. It's the crafty web they weave, right? So I just asked the question, what is the energy surrounding Laura and now the entire Owens family during August 2026? Remember, these are just my opinions, sometimes my little snarky comments, and sometimes just my spidey senses. But I pulled my cards, as you know I do. And we got Fox, Garden, Coffin, Ring, Dog, Whip, Ship. I gotta put them down because I'm gonna lose them all. Mountain and House. How ironic, right? Very interesting. And as I began, so like I said, they were sitting here on my desk, my table, looking at me, screaming, "Do the reading already." Boris and Natasha. Okay. I was just really struck how, closely the themes of these cards mirrors what's happening. Okay, so today I want to walk through those cards along with some publicly reported developments. And as always, this is not a legal prediction. It's not evidence. Not like the psychic detective. But, And if you could do me a solid, like and subscribe, follow along, and if you choose to comment, remember to be kind. And of course, I appreciate you all. So let's begin, all right? So over the past week, several news outlets reported on developments involving Laura Owens' parents. Ron Owens, Jan Black, or Elizabeth Ann Naylor, or as I fondly refer to them, is Natasha and Boris. All right. The reporting focuses on the dismissal of their Chapter 11 bankruptcy case and the U.S. trustee's allegations that the case had been filed in bad faith. Our Queen Jennifer's on the case. And it raised questions about the family's use of their GoFundMe donations. Now, the reports also discuss Laura's reported financial dependence on her parents and describe how the family's financial situation has become intertwined with Laura's ongoing criminal case. 14 felonies, if y'all need a reminder. And one point I want to emphasize is that the trustee questioned aspects of the bankruptcy filings and donor expectations, and the bankruptcy case was dismissed. Now, these proceedings are separate from Laura's criminal case in Arizona. But let's look at the cards, okay? Because the very first one we get is the fox. Now, if you've been following along, this may have caught your attention. Fox. Fox is intelligent. Fox is strategic, resourceful. Those are all really good qualities. Looks for solution. It adapts. It also tries to stay one step ahead. And as I read the reporting, Fox immediately reminded me of something. The story contains many explanations. They're competing explanations. The reporting discusses explanations for the GoFundMe campaign, explanations for the bankruptcy filings, explanations for the financial records, explanations for inconsistencies identified by the trustee. Well, I'm not here to decide which is correct, but Fox asks a very interesting, energetic question. At what point does strategy stop working? And here comes the moment when life asks us to move beyond managing perceptions, hear that, Jan? And towards confronting reality. And that's exactly how Fox feels to me. A little crafty, too. Which is kind of why it reminds me of a cartoon. Okay, so then we have the garden. And the garden's all you guys. Garden is the public, the media, the community, public opinion, everything that happens outside of the walls of the home. When I first pulled garden, I wrote in my notes, this story becomes bigger. At the time, I wasn't quite sure what that meant because it's big already, but it keeps getting bigger. We heard this week in the grapevine that Laura is entertaining the possibility of 2 documentaries telling her story. Well, two companies approached her or whatever on telling her story in a documentary form. We're going to cover that a little later because I have thoughts. Okay. All right. So with the garden, this isn't just about Laura's case. This isn't just about her felony case. This is about this whole entire family system. And it's all being discussed. Federal filings, local news, national news, podcasts, YouTube channels, Reddit, social media. Everywhere you look, we're talking about the Owens. Garden doesn't tell us whether it's fair or not. It just tells us the story has moved further into the public square. And once something reaches the garden, it becomes very, very difficult to contain. And Laura and her family are never going to get beyond this. The internet remembers everything. So anyway, she can continue with her narrative, but it's going to be right here on the internet. Now we got the coffin. And whenever people see the coffin, they immediately assume the worst, which, it's not a very pretty card. It's kind of scary, actually. But in Lenormand, coffin often represents endings, completion, closing of one chapter before another one begins. And since this reading, the Owens Chapter 11 bankruptcy case has been dismissed for 2 years. The family has a 2-year probation on filing another bankruptcy case. The U.S. trustee argued the case had been filed in bad faith, pointing to alleged inconsistencies in bankruptcy filings. I love that, Queen Jennifer. Queen Jennifer, call me. I'll be your intern. I'll get your coffee. All right, so that legal development feels very Coffin to me, not because it predicts any kind of catastrophe, but because clearly that chapter has ended. And I'm not sure that it's not a legal strategy or another financial approach, or something that we will see later, because I kind of feel like even though this has reached a conclusion, things can't go back the way they were. So buckle in. I think we're going to see some other craftiness and possibly some information from, possibly more actions taken against the Owens. I'm just going to say that. All right. So I don't know for sure. These are my spidey senses. All right. All right. The ring is fascinating because it followed the coffin. So while one chapter closed, another obligation begins. Ring represents commitments, contracts, legal obligations, financial responsibilities, things that bind us together. As we know, Laura's criminal case continues. The family still faces financial realities after this bankruptcy dismissal. Creditors may continue pursuing collection. Life doesn't simply stop because one legal matter has ended. Ring reminds us that endings often lead into new responsibilities. And then comes Dog, and Dog is interesting to me too, because Dog asks a question that I think we all can relate to. What does loyalty look like when a family is under pressure? We heard from Jan, we can't help Laura. We don't have the financial means to do that anymore. So the reporting states that Laura is financially dependent on her parents and lives with them. That detail obviously caught my attention because Dog is not only about friendship. It's about support, standing beside someone. Could this be her sister as well? Remaining loyal through difficult circumstances. This is the Dog. And this Dog doesn't tell us whether loyalty is right or wrong. It's just telling. It's highlighting how central loyalty has become to this story, perhaps to the detriment of those who are loyal. Okay, well, then we have the whip. Whip is repeated conflict. Doesn't it seem like a cartoon? It does. The same issues resurfacing. Same records being reviewed, the same questions being asked again and again. Across the reporting, we see recurring themes, financial disclosures, bankruptcy schedules, donor expectations, legal filings, and ongoing scrutiny. I think it's going to go wider. I see the doors being blown off of this. So this is going to be even more interesting as time goes on and how things unfold. WHIP doesn't just suggest one single thing. It's consistent. It reflects a process where issues continue to be revisited over time. So this ain't going away. All right. Then we have SHIP. And now SHIP is interesting too, because SHIP is telling us that the story is going into another phase. The bankruptcy chapter has changed. The criminal case continues, the public conversation has expanded, and whether anyone involved and wanted that transition or not, the energy no longer feels static. SHIP is our movement. All right, then we got Mountain. And this is probably the most important card in this reading because, as you know, Mountain represents obstacles, institutions, things that can not simply be talked around. Sorry, Jan. And when I think about the Mountain, I do think about the court system, the bankruptcy process, the documentation, the procedure, the time. The Mountain says this process continues. Not quickly, not easily, but steadily. So those of you that think it's going to be lickety-split, it ain't. Okay. Then we have the house, and the house is really interesting to me because when I first saw the house, I thought their immediate home, they're the home that's being foreclosed on. And I also thought about the family, but I think it's even deeper than that. I think it's the foundation, the identity, the structure holding everything together, and we could call that their narrative, their reputation. And the reporting repeatedly returns to the household itself, the family's finances, the home, the bankruptcy filings, Laura's reported dependence on her family, on her parents, and the way one person's legal situation intersects with the family's finances. Okay, so the house asks, what foundation remains? What can still support the weight of it? And that question feels bigger than this case. It's a question many families may face in different ways. So as the whole reading has been expanded, we can look at the cards all together: the fox, the garden, the coffin, the ring, the dog, the whip, the ship, the mountain, and the house. And when I step back, this is not a prediction. It's a story. It's strategy, public attention, an ending, continuing obligations, loyalty under pressure, repeated conflict, transition and institutional obstacles. And finally, the home and the family system is obviously being tested. So whether you follow this case closely or are simply just interested in intuitive work, I think these cards remind us that life often unfolds in chapters. And the courts do that too. But sometimes the cards illuminate the emotional and symbolic landscape people are walking through. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. When you look at those 9 cards alongside the publicly reported documents and developments, what stands out to you? Do you see the same themes as I do? Do you think the cards reflect the emotional atmosphere surrounding this story? Remember to keep the comments kind. I love this kind of discussion, and I read them. Okay, my goal here isn't to tell anybody what the verdict is yet, but only to teach what the cards show in human patterns that are developing through this case. And it's kind of fun to explore how symbolic tools like Lenormand cards can sometimes echo the broader themes unfolding in public life. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share it with someone who enjoys thoughtful conversations about intuition, symbolism, and current events. And until next time, take care of yourself, trust your intuition, and I'll see you in the next one.